Good morning, USA, and welcome to another episode of the Bernie or Bust Show, unshaved, unbathed, unedited, and unscripted. And remember, you can't change a corrupt system by taking its money. We're going to explore that idea. This is a Common Dreams article by Jake Johnson. Common Dreams can't change a corrupt system by taking its money. Sanders urges all 2020 Democrats to reject insurance, big pharma cash. There's a pledge about it. So he introduces the No Health Insurance and Pharma Money Pledge, which states, I pledge to not take contributions from the health insurance or pharmaceutical industry and instead prioritize the health of the American people over health industry profits. Okay, so then we go to Elizabeth Warren, and she's, if you remember yesterday's show, she's talking about, a lot of people are talking about how she's connected to the Clinton machine, particularly Crystal Ball on the Hill. And so I want to start kind of where we left off yesterday and then go from there. This is Kyle Kulinski.
Sure. Is it possible that Elizabeth Warren is wheeling and dealing behind the scenes? Absolutely. I mean, that's what she did in 2016. Hillary Clinton played her, by the way, in 2016 because they approached Elizabeth Warren and said, "Oh, we're considering you for VP. We're gonna vet you. We'll get back to you soon." And then what happened? That was Hillary's chess move to block Elizabeth Warren from even considering endorsing Bernie. Because Elizabeth Warren thought, "Oh shit, I might be Hillary Clinton's VP. So now I got to stay out of this." When before she may have been leaning in the direction of I'll endorse Bernie because Bernie's more ideologically aligned with me, Hillary's chess move likely was, we know she did it. It's just a question of what the intentions were when she did it. My guess is it's a Machiavellian trick, and it's brilliant, actually, from a political cutthroat, viewpoint. She basically kneecapped Elizabeth Warren by saying, "Oh yeah, we're considering you for VP. We're going to vet you. Just sit back and relax. We'll get back to you soon." And then what do? Take her out of the equation.
And that's what happened. And he's speaking very confidently about that. We know that happened. We know that there was a deal, and Elizabeth agreed not to run. Even though Bernie, I found out a few minutes ago, Bernie asked Elizabeth to run before he declared that he was going to run. And so there you, I don't know what she would have said to him. I doubt she would have just confessed that they made a deal with the Clinton machine. Then you've got Jimmy, whole clip, why Elizabeth Warren would lose to Trump. And I urge you to watch this whole clip because there are lots of good reasons. One of them was that Elizabeth recently contributed to a Native American cookbook called Pow Wow Chow. And they're talking about how Donald Trump is going to eat her for breakfast. Tim Black watched the debates last night, and he talked about how she wasn't very tough when it came to Joe Biden. And he's saying everybody's trying to get in the game and work for the privilege of going up against Trump. And he's watching Elizabeth go against Biden, and he can't see it. He can't see how she's going to possibly do that. Katie Halper's on the Jimmy Dore show here, and she says that. She says she can't picture how Elizabeth is going to stand up to the onslaught of Donald Trump. She also makes the case that Donald Trump is held to much lower standards than Elizabeth Warren would be. And Katie and Jimmy and Steph are trying to hold Elizabeth to progressive standards, and she fails every time. Here's a little bit of Jimmy's clip.
Play a little bit more.
We're in a race against Donald Trump when we're in a race for control of the Senate and control of the House and in control of the State House.
Hey, we're always in a race for control of everything.
Right.
Well, it's like, hey, I'm all for not taking corporate cash, but it's super serious. We're in a race right now for the Senate and the State House.
Right.
We always are. So what's
right. Next time I run and we're not in a race for anything.
Yeah.
When the election's system stops.
Yes, when we're not.
And electoral politics takes a pause, right?
When we're having an election and it's not actually for the Senate or the House or state houses or the presidency, that's when we cannot take corporate money. But right now, it's for a real thing. So we have to take corporate money and do that thing that gave us Donald Trump in the first place.
There you go.
Us getting in bed with corporations, the military-industrial complex, Wall Street, big oil, and big pharma and insurance. That's exactly what led us to Donald Trump. And she's prescribing the exact same thing, and she's calling it serious because we gotta win. Hey, you outspent Donald Trump 2-1 last time, and you lost to him.
In the governor's mansions, in all of those, the Republicans are going to be bringing a lot of money, a lot of power, a lot of dark money, a lot of super.
What he should have said also, you lost, and he should equate. I mean, he's equating, and we're supposed to just read between the lines. He's equating Elizabeth Warren to Hillary Clinton. He said you lost last time because Elizabeth stayed out, because Elizabeth is still connected very powerfully to the Clinton machine. He's saying you, meaning Hillary and you. I think a lot of people should remember that Elizabeth had the chance to be a progressive and to unite with the progressive. She could have endorsed a progressive. Instead, she was a superdelegate for Clinton. And so when he equates the two, I think that's totally fair.
PACs all to the fight. We play with the same rules. And in that one, I say we got to be all in.
So I'm going to throw it to my panel. I would love to get your opinion on what and that we have to be all in, meaning all in is when you put all of your own money and you're risking everything.
I want to defend him here. He looks at his panel and then he keeps talking. And I know one of the panelists is his wife. And I know when he looks over there, because I've seen it on his live shows, he looks over there and then they're like, no, we don't have anything to say right now. So then he takes up the slack. So he's not a megalomaniac. He really does include everybody in his discussions, but he's got such good ideas. Yeah, I just wanted to let you know he's not stepping on anybody here.
In gambling, when she says all in, that's not what she means. What she means is I'm not risking anything. I'm taking money from the exact same people who I'm supposed to be regulating and fighting against. And it changes everything. And she's pretending like makes prudent and she's a grown-up. She's doing that. We've got to beat Donald Trump. Oh, isn't it great that we have Donald Trump so you can now continue the same corrupt manner that you've always been?
That's as big a point as what he said before, is the corruption is what gave us Donald Trump in the first place. Aren't you glad you have Donald Trump there as a foil so that you can be just as evil as he is, but you're under his cover, and he provides a lot of cover.
Taking corporate cash and turning your back on people. Well, you know what Bernie Sanders says? You can't change a corrupt system by taking its money.
There you go.
That's what Bernie Sanders says. You can't change a corrupt system by taking its money. Let me throw it to my panel.
I'm inspired and I want to have a beer with her. No, it's a great message. Like, okay, plebs, I get it. You don't want corporate money in the primary, so I'll play by your rules then. But in the general, I'm just going to do Washington as usual, because that's a winning strategy. People aren't fed up with the status quo at all.
What people want to fight Trump with is someone who's doing exactly what Trump is doing.
That's right.
He bet with the same people, promising favors to the same donor class. People are tired of the donor class running things, and nobody knows it better than Elizabeth Warren, and she doesn't give a shit. That's what I think. What do you think, Steph?
You know, when I think of Elizabeth, well, first off, my mind was blown about the powwow chow. Okay, I can't believe that she would participate in something like that. I thought it was a bunch of baloney. It's true. She wrote for it. Yeah. And then the whole idea of, Jimmy, you know, when I was looking at the list of the donations that they made, like it was $13,000 to Kamala and $15,000. That's how low, that's how cheap their compromise is.
Yeah.
And that's depressing to me. And so nothing that, like you were saying, we had this conversation earlier about, you're supposed to be able to accuse Trump of being a liar. We have all these examples of him lying and lying and lying. And so why can't we have a candidate that is virtuous, who's not going to be lying and flip-flopping on all the issues all the time.
You mean like
and that
someone...
she's going to accept big money so we can beat him. I'm thinking, why don't we start with big issues that will win
There you
support?
go.
Nice.
Yeah.
How about we go all in on issues? How about we go all in on Medicare for all? How about we go all in on ending the wars? How about we go all in on free college? How about we go all in on a living wage? How about we go all in on breaking up the banks and banning fracking? How about we go all in on a Green New Deal? That's what's going to win you an election. You know what's going to lose you an election? Pretending you're better than Donald Trump when you're in bed with the exact same people. That's what's going to lose you the election, because people know that you fast-tracked Donald Trump's judges. People know you gave him $80 billion more for the military, a guy you say is a traitor to our country, but you're going to let him go bomb other countries, and you get him $80 billion. People know that Elizabeth Warren is duplicitous and is not being straight. And you know why? Because Donald Trump, a guy like Donald Trump, can pressure her into humiliating herself like this.
I am not a person of color. I am not a citizen of a tribe.
Did you see that, Katie?
Yeah, do you know that image of Bernie Sanders running for a train? Have
Yes,
you seen that? It's
yes.
like a popular. I think that's when he got a text from someone telling him that Warren was going to get a DNA test, and that was him trying to warn her not to do it. It just becomes conventional wisdom. You hear it from media, and you hear it from politicians. So that's why shows like yours and shows that other people have that push back on this are so important, because we need to change what people think of as the normal, right? The norm, or the possible, or the achievable.
Right.
And that really is the most exciting thing. Like Naomi Klein said this, and we know it's scary, because she goes, I knew our ideas were right, but I didn't know they were so popular and possible.
This whole clip is really good, and you should watch the whole thing. But that's where Bernie comes in. Obama talked about hope and change, and really, maybe he did intend to bring it about, but he certainly didn't achieve it. And to be fair, if Bernie gets in, he really believes in hope and change, but he's going to need all of our help. But before then, he needs all of our help right now to get the word out around the blockade. The Washington Post, New York Times, CNN, MSNBC blockade. We need to make sure that his message gets to everyone. So the Jimmy Dore Show is not corporate news. It has a lot of followers. This one has 77,000 views, so he's not small potatoes, but he's still not getting to everybody who gets their news on television. So we need to get this out. We really need to work together. Elizabeth Warren is not going to do anything other than provide cover. She provides cover for the evil of the corporations she's serving. There's a part, I just mentioned it instead of trying to find it right now, but there's a part on this clip where they show Kamala Harris accepting money from Big Pharma, and then she's on this list, and it's circled, and then 3 or 4 names up from the list is Elizabeth Warren taking even more money from Big Pharma than Kamala. And so it's just really important to share this with your progressive-leaning traditional Democrats, that they can't accept Elizabeth Warren as progressive enough. They're protecting Bernie. Also, one more thing about Katie Halper. Earlier in this clip, she talked about meritocracy. She said Bernie is the only person who rejects meritocracy, and she said that's a good thing. What that means is we've got this trough full of food, and we're all the pigs that want to eat from the trough. We're all the feeders, and we all need to eat. So I'm not trying to denigrate pigs. I love pigs. I think they're intelligent and smart, and I said that, intelligent and smart. I think they're like probably smarter than dogs in lots of ways, and just as soulful. And we're all these pigs at the trough. We're all trying to eat, and we're held back by other pigs. It kind of is like George Orwell, an Animal Farm. So we all need to eat. And so meritocracy says, okay, only certain pigs, the ones who are quality, the ones who are really clever and smart and work really hard should eat. And a lot of Americans will knee-jerk and say, right, we need the opportunity to eat, but not all of us can eat because we need this competition. We need this capitalist system where only the best can eat. Or even they'll say Darwinian wise, they'll say only the strong survive. Let all the pigs who aren't as strong just die. And that's where, when you're rejecting meritocracy, that's where that comes in. You're rejecting the idea that a lot of the pigs just need to die when there's plenty of food in the trough for all of us. There's plenty. But we've got this idea, well, no, we've got to have this system where only some of us can eat. And if you still hold on to that, okay, only the best get to eat, or the best obviously should, I believe that the best should probably have more of what's there than other people who don't try as hard. I'm not against competition, but what we don't realize then is that some people are born into circumstances or find the circumstances later that are not fair, and they could be just as smart as you are or smarter than you are, just as clever, and they won't have what you have. And then you're telling them, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, just work harder, you'll get there. In a system that's rigged, once the people get into the castle, they conquer it, then they dig the moat even deeper, and they pull the drawbridge up, and they make sure nobody else can get in either after them. And then we have the game of Monopoly that I keep coming back to because it's such a perfect description of what our system is evolving towards. For all those reasons, we need Bernie, a true revolutionary, and not Elizabeth, who's just propping up the system and saying just enough lip service to keep her connected to people who want to feel good about themselves, the progressive leaning liberals, but who are actually neoliberals. And she wants, so then she's trying to keep them happy, but she's also trying to keep the Clinton machine happy, and she's trying to keep everyone happy at the same time. She's talking out of both sides of her mouth. I think she has 5 mouths. I think she's trying to keep, disparate groups of people happy, and she can't do that. She can't shapeshift into 5 forms at once without us seeing through it and saying, bullshit. Kyle Kalinske, go back and watch him, and you'll see. And later on in his clip, he's saying similar things. All right, this is the crux of the matter with Elizabeth. That's why we keep coming back to her. Elizabeth has been, that dark money she was talking about, complaining about, has been behind her now for at least a few months. You can feel the switch. They're not going to keep trying to prop up Joe Biden for much longer, and they're going to go all in, as she says, for her, and I can see it coming, and that's why we need to keep fighting back and keep saying she's not a true progressive. She's just somebody who's talking the talk but not walking the walk. Enjoy your day. Happy Friday. Keep on burning.